Hey everyone, Dumont Owen here. I popped into the Facebook group a little bit early because I'm just so happy to be here. So I'm going to check over here and see. We have a little bit of delay. In order to see your comments, I have to be actually in the Dumont Associates group. So I'm going to be going back and forth to see if I can find your comments. But if you're new to this, what I want you to do is go above me. There will be an announcement in the box about adding yourself, because Facebook will not let me see who you are unless you give them permission. So let's just go up here, okay? And let me know, because anonymous comments, I mean, I'll answer your question, but I'd sure like to know who you are. Secondly, I know I'm early. That was my husband just telling me that I'm early. He didn't hear me say I popped in early because I really wanted to just, see who was on here and get to know you. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to check real quick. Okay. All right. So can everybody hear me? If you can hear me, type your name in the chat. Okay. All right, so I'm going to wait a few minutes to get into my topic for today, which is how to make your LinkedIn headline sizzle. Now, here's the reason you want to do that. I always talk about personal branding and how you have to promote your brand on LinkedIn. Well, your profile is like the most heavily branded real estate that you can find. Just try Googling yourself sometime and put it in quotation marks, because otherwise you don't get the right results. Google your name in quotation marks, and I'll bet you anything that your LinkedIn profile is in the first or second place. So it's really important to get that LinkedIn profile or that headline right, because that headline is what's going to guide people. That's one of the things that's going to guide people to your profile. Okay, so when we're talking about personal branding in your LinkedIn profile, we're talking about really expressing your brand immediately. When people land on your profile, you want them to know they are in the totally right place, right? So, the first thing they're going to see is your banner, and we're not going to talk about your banner today, but I will give you some resources for that later. And then the next thing they see is your picture. Now, your picture needs to be professional quality, okay? Or professional looking, I should say. It does not have to be a headshot done by a photographer. That's nice if you can afford it. They make us all look better. But the main thing is that you are wearing professional attire. And by that, I mean the attire that would be considered normal and usual and customary in your particular field. Okay, and you want to be looking straight into the camera, and you want to have a big old smile on your face, right? Because you want people to feel like you are welcoming them. From the very instant they set foot on your profile, you want them to feel like, oh my gosh, I'm home. This is the person that I was meant to find today. So that's what we're talking about today. We're going to be talking about how to make that LinkedIn profile so powerful that it generates more incoming leads, okay? You have more people asking to connect. You have more people looking at your profile. You have more people following your content. All that good stuff. All right, so before we get started, I wanted to give you a little insight into what's coming up in March, because we have a full schedule in March. First of all, we're starting a whole new program on Friday mornings at 10, and it's called the Lucrative LinkedIn Lead Generation Friday Morning Show, or the Friday Show. And it's going to take place at 10 o'clock a.m. every Friday morning. That's Eastern Standard Time. And it'll be live. So you can bring your questions. I'm going to go over all the videos and tips and all the good stuff that we've done in the group that day. I'm also going to be giving you some ideas about what's coming down the road with LinkedIn, where I see that going, and then answer just any questions that you have. So keep that in mind that Friday at 10, you don't have to register. Just show up here in the Facebook group and you'll have my attention. Okay, so that's one thing. I wanted to make sure that you knew that. And then on March 3rd, that's next Wednesday, we're going to be starting a whole new chapter. We're going to be talking about how to initiate the all-important conversations that you need to have to develop relationships and convert clients on LinkedIn. So you can't keep track of conversations very easily. It's not a metric that you can see, although you can certainly keep track of it if you like. But one of the things that tells us whether we're having conversations, whether we're engaging with our ideal clients, and whether we're just doing it, we're just cooking with gas here, is your social selling index. And that's what I'm going to go into on March 3rd. I'm going to show you where it is, the 4 pillars of that index and how it's scored. And then for the next 4 months, we will be taking one of those pillars. And we will be surrounding that month with topics about that pillar. So the first pillar is promoting your brand on LinkedIn. That is the first pillar, the first fundamental metric that you need to know on LinkedIn. So the rest of March is going to be all about promoting your personal brand. On March 10th, we're going to have Stand Out, build a personal brand in 3 steps. So I'm going to give you very clear directions on how to actually build your personal brand. And then the following week on March 17th, I'm going to give you 10 ways to promote your personal brand on LinkedIn. And then finally, on the 24th, we're going to have a live broadcast on how to communicate your brand on LinkedIn. So March is personal branding month. And then each month after that, for 4 months, we're going to, or for 3 more months, we're going to have something we're going to focus on one of the pillars of the social selling index. So, and remember, these are all recorded and they're all posted in the Facebook group for 5 to 10 days, usually 5 days, so you can catch up with them. So I usually do them on Wednesday, so you have through the weekend to catch up with them, and that's always good. But it's so much fun for me and you, or you and me, to do it here live. Okay, so let's get into what we're doing today. Hold on a second. I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Okay, now. Okay, you should be seeing a slide that says Dumont and Associates make your associates, right? Yes, you associate us with a lot of things, I'm sure. Dumont and Associates, make your LinkedIn headline sizzle. So that's what we're talking about today. I just want to see you guys have the best headlines. And do me a favor, when you've got a draft, when you think you've got something you want to run by the group, then post it. Post it here and under this stream, and I'll see it and I'll respond to you, and we'll let other people respond too. So let's really get some discussion going and get some really great headlines built. Okay, so okay. Those of you who don't know me, I'm Dumont Owen. I am a REACH certified master personal brand strategist and digital branding strategist. And there are only about 24 of us in the world. So that's my real claim to fame. I'm also a LinkedIn coach and trainer, and I'm certified also as a career coach and executive leadership coach. I am really big on having the right credentials. I come out of higher ed. I was in higher ed for 20 years. And so it's just natural to me. I feel like, you really have to have the credentials to put yourself out there in front of people. So before you start working on your profile, any part of your profile, I want you to do 3 things. First, I want you to conduct a computer audit for any bios, news articles, newsletters, brochures, multimedia, anything that you have in there that might be of interest to other people, might be of interest to your ideal clients, because we're going to start. Your profile also includes content marketing, because you have the ability to feature different things that you've done for, with content on your profile. So I want you to start gathering that stuff together. I also want you to look at LinkedIn and find a few profiles that really appeal to you, so that you have an idea of the format that you might want to use, because there are a number of different formats you can use. And then finally, I want you to go to your settings, and this is really, really important. Go to your settings where it says your visibility settings, and you can find your settings under, the me icon, the picture of you that says me icon, and you click that and drop down, and your settings and privacy are there. I want you to turn off share profile updates with your network, because if you don't, every time you make a little change, you go in and you say, oh, I think I'm just going to change this on my profile, everybody's going to get notified. And, it's not going to take too long before they get really irritated with being notified. So do your changes with that setting off, but don't forget to come back and turn it back on. But turn it back on when you think your profile is ready to go. Okay, so that's what I want you to do as a preamble. Okay, so let's take a look at what goes into the branded content of your profile. Remember, I said that you're going to want to have a headline that speaks to your ideal clients. Well, this woman helps women who are in technology. And you can see, that her profile has, her banner has women, who are in a learning mode and in technology. And that's exactly what she wants to communicate. Empowering today's women to lead tomorrow's tech. Great, that's a good sizzle there. That's a great way to reach out to people. It's very clear. She's telling you exactly what she does, isn't she? So if you're a woman in technology, if you're in the Silicon Valley and you aren't getting a fair shake, in technology, technology is still an area where women are still trying to break in, even though they've been in there for at least 40 years that I know of personally. So that's a really key area, and they're going to gravitate towards her. Now, she also has a great picture. Look at how she's looking into the camera. She's looking right at you. She has a big old smile on her face. And, she just looks engaging. And her head and shoulders they take up about 80%. 80% of the circle. You don't want a full body shot. It takes you too far away. You're receding into the background. So what you really want is something that's going to speak to people. And, this looking straight at you into the camera is really powerful. Okay. All right, so what we're talking about today is the third part of a branded profile, and that's your headline. And your headline consists of your title, your keywords, and we're going to talk about keywords because they're really important here, and some sizzle. And it can be really sizzling. I'm going to show you one that's just really, really cool that way. Or, some people really focus on having the right title so people will find it, because your title can be a keyword and should be a keyword. But other people are going to really load up the keywords in that title because that works for them. And then still others are going to be clever with that sizzle, or they're going to tell you exactly what they do. Okay, so remember, you want your entire profile to be oriented towards your ideal client. Think about it this way. This isn't about you. It's about them. So you want them to know right away that you are there for them. Okay, so let's keep going. Okay, your title. Let's make it easy to find you. And this is one place where I see people being so creative, and maybe you don't want to be quite that creative. Let me show you what I mean. Okay, this is one that I pulled off of LinkedIn. Chief Inspirator, Go-To Guy, Head Motivator. That gives me a really good kind of idea of something about this guy or girl, but I'm not quite sure what. Okay, so what I would prefer to see in this case would be what the person really does. They're the lead writer and digital editor of this magazine, and since they're the editor, they have an eye on the bottom line. Still says they're the chief inspirator, they're the go-to guy, because theirs is the bottom line, and they've got to get people excited about, writing and their team writing and everything. So what we've done here is we've just put in exactly who they are, because remember, we're putting ourselves into our ideal clients' minds. And I don't think too many people go on LinkedIn and look for, enter in the search field, a chief inspirator, or enter in the search field, I want to find a go-to guy, it's just not going to happen, or even head motivator. Okay, so make it easy to find you. Let me show you another example. The Sherlock Holmes of accounting. Now, I'm a huge Sherlock Holmes fan, and I really love this. And I actually know this person because I used to work with him. And he's a forensic accountant. And if you're not familiar with what forensic accountants do, they investigate fraud, So, yeah, they do have to be like Sherlock Holmes. But maybe we could make it just a little bit more clear and something people would look for, like forensic accountant. So there you've got a really good keyword phrase, and consultant. Okay, people look for forensic accountants, they look for accountants, they look for consultants, and he's still got some sizzle here. Sherlock Holmes had nothing on me. Okay, so it's still a title. It's still communicating what he wants to communicate so creatively, but it's also got those search terms that people are looking for. Okay, so how do you find keywords, Sometimes they're obvious. And the first thing to do when you're thinking about keywords is to think about, 4 or 5 terms that people might use to find you. For instance, in my case, they might look for a personal brand strategist or a digital brand strategist. They might look for a LinkedIn trainer or a LinkedIn expert, or they might look for a coach, because I tend to work with a lot of coaches and I work mostly with coaches, consultants, and professional service providers. So all of those things are keywords that they could use to find me. So I would start out with that. But here's what I want you to do next. Go to the LinkedIn Ad Skills tool. Now, to find that, you are going to scroll down your profile to endorsements and skills, or skills and endorsements. I always get that one backwards, but I think it's skills and endorsements. And it has this tool that you can use. And what skills and endorsements was meant to do initially was to give you skills that you could list on your profile, and then other people can endorse them. And that's still what it does. So you want to pay a lot of attention to this skills tool, because not only is it a way to, put your skills out there for people to endorse. And remember, that's social proof of your skills when people endorse you. So it not only does that, but it helps you research keywords. So you're going to scroll down there and you're going to just click on this add a new skill. Okay, the next thing you're going to... Well, I just committed the cardinal sin and left my phone on, so don't think it doesn't happen. Okay, so when you get to the add skills tool, and let me go back for a second and just show you. When you get to this, and it's going to say skills and endorsements right there, and you click on that little add new skill, start typing one of those skills. So for instance, I was looking to see something maybe in content writing, content management. And when I typed in content, LinkedIn started filling in all these different skills: web content writing, content management systems, content development, enterprise content management. Those are all keywords and keyword phrases. Now, you want both, because remember that your LinkedIn profile is one of the first things that people see when they Google you, okay? And Google looks at keywords in two ways. Single keywords like content or one or two words, content marketing. But they also look for and those are called short tail words, the ones that are one or two words. Longer tail words, which are things like enterprise content management or content management systems, CMS, those are what we call long tail words. And Google has gotten very, very smart, I guess you could say, about looking for those. It doesn't just look for a list of skills that you have in your profile. It looks for them in context. It looks for them woven through it. So you're going to want to have both short tail keyword and long tail keyword phrases. Okay, so you type it in and you get all these choices. And then I want you to go back in once you've really found some really good skills areas that pertain to you. Then I want you to go in and see these little parallel lines here. This is how you can drag them up and down. And the only ones that people are going to see when they land on your profile are the first three. Then they have to click see more. Okay, so you want your best ones at the top, and go in every once in a while and reorder them. And by the way, you don't have to have 50. There's a real school of thought that says only have 10. Have your top 10. Only give people 10 choices to endorse you for, and you'll get your most important ones endorsed first. Or you may be like me. I switched from, I evolved from career coaching into what I'm doing now with personal branding and LinkedIn. So I have a lot of endorsement on skills that are not as important with what I'm doing now. So I'm trying to move those further down and rearrange them. Okay, so that's how you find keywords. Next, let's look at how you can further brand your headline. Okay. Some of you are familiar with this because you've been with me for a while. One of the best ways to come up with the rest of your headline is to put down to write your personal brand statement. And a personal brand statement can be done in a lot of ways, but it always has three characteristics. One, it's only one sentence long. Okay, only one sentence long. It can be a long sentence, provided you know the right punctuation, but just one sentence long. It has to be easily memorized so that it just comes to you when you're talking with people, when you're doing something online, you know that brand statement. And then finally, it has to be clear enough that a seventh grader could understand it. Now, seventh graders have gotten a lot more informed since I was teaching seventh grade many years ago. But you want them to be able to understand it, or maybe a sixth grader or a fifth grader. You can decide what level you want to go to, but it needs to be very clear. So here are just 3 types of brand statements that you could use. I use and that would be skills or abilities or experience for doing something, okay? So I use my experience in personal branding and training people on LinkedIn for empowering my ideal clients to succeed in attracting my clients to succeed in attracting their ideal clients. I'm running this off the top of my head in this format. Okay, you could say I support, help, or empower or activate. Just use one of those. I support solopreneurs and entrepreneurs in lead building by helping them or by training them in the best practices for LinkedIn. Okay, or I leverage my years of experience in career development and personal branding to deliver a steady stream of ideal clients to solopreneurs and entrepreneurs in the professional services and training industry. So you can go a lot of different ways. And once you've got it down, it's not always going to come out the same way. You're going to be able to vary it depending on who you're talking to. So you really want to put a lot of thought into this. Okay, I want to show you a couple of different headlines that really show how different people have used this. And for this, I've used some of my fellow master personal brand strategists because I've been watching them all this time and I know they have really great headlines. So let's look first at Randy Bussin. Randy is, she's a really dynamite career coach. And she has a fabulous background. If you get a chance to look at her profile, this is a good one to look at. Now, let's look at her headline: Trusted Advisor / Coach for Rising Stars, Execs, Entrepreneurs. Capitalize on strengths, illuminate your brand, ROI, stand out, and open doors. Okay, so first of all, Randy identifies her as an advisor and coach. So she's using some really powerful keywords there. And she also, though, she has chosen to put her brand statement, to really illuminate her brand statement. I know that with her, assessing your strengths and promoting your brand and getting more of a return on your investment is really, really important for her. And she really knows her stuff when it comes to personal branding. So when she says stand out and open doors, that's what she's talking about. She's saying have an amazing brand that opens doors for you. Okay, so that's Randy Bussin. And she's done a great job. These are all various pictures of her doing presentations and workshops. Notice her picture. She's looking straight at you, big smile. Dynamite example. Okay, here's Deb Dibb. Now, Deb is, she is a master copywriter. I mean, this woman and the way that she uses words is just brilliant. So I want you to look at her headline. First of all, she's identified herself as a master personal brand strategist, but she's also really put in a lot of keywords in here. Brand storyteller. Storyteller is a huge, powerful keyword here, and that's exactly what she is. Editor, polisher, writing strategy coach, because she takes what other people have written and she polishes them. She makes it really shine. And then I love her. This is the Sizzle, and she demonstrates Sizzle really well. I help busy, gutsy career pros get unstuck. Fast, fun, done. Now, wouldn't you like to work with a copywriter and copy editor like that? I sure would. So another really great example, and her background, Deb's brand color is orange, and you know she's full of energy. She's just when she's thinking, the excitement just you can hear it going on in her head. So that's the perfect profile picture for her, or banner for her, and of course her profile. Look at that smile and that eye contact. Okay, and then finally, this is William Arruda, and he's the person who trained all of us as master personal brand strategists. And this is so like what he says. What makes you unique makes you successful, because branding is all about making you unique and helping you stand out against your competitors. So he talks about being a motivational speaker, a virtual keynote speaker, and that virtual piece is really important now. A best-selling author, personal branding pioneer, and he is all of those things. So look at the keywords here. Motivational speaker, that's a keyword phrase. Keynote speaker and virtual keynote speaker. He's giving you that information too. He is a best-selling author. He was a total pioneer in the personal branding field. I mean, total pioneer, and he trained the rest of us. So very happy to have studied under this man. And see, he's not letting go of the creativity. Chief Encouragement Officer, he has that, but he has it in connection with all of these other words, all these other key words. Reach is the company he founded. He's the co-founder of a new company, Career Blast TV, and he helps professionals succeed by being themselves. And if I know you know about branding because you hear me talk about it all the time, but a personal brand has to be authentic. And all three of the examples that I have shown you are just so authentic. They are so representative of these three people. If you scratched the surface, and you asked anybody else about them, they would describe them in very similar terms. So that's how you create a headline that has the right title, the right keywords, and the right sizzle. And it can be sizzle in terms of, something, like Deb did with, I help busy, gutsy career pros get unstuck, fast, fun, done. I mean, that's really sizzling. And then we have William, who, and this is the phrase that is absolutely him. What makes you unique makes you successful. And then he goes through and he's saying helping professionals succeed by being themselves. It's not as snappy. It just tells you exactly what he does, and it conveys that authenticity. So I am going to, if you'd like to get a hold of me, you can find me on LinkedIn at, my LinkedIn link. You can invite me to be a friend on Facebook, or you can email me, dumont@dumontowen.com. So right now I am going to stop sharing and look over here and see if we have, hold on, I'm a little short-sighted here. Okay, yes, Carrie, yes, that's a good question. How do you make the choice between whether you want a clever headline or whether you want one that's grounded in your personal brand? And I would say both, because you want it to sizzle, but sizzle doesn't necessarily mean clever. It means, well, it does mean clever, but it means clever in terms of capturing your brand in a way and projecting your brand in a way that your ideal clients will recognize, and that really promotes you authentically. That's really the most important piece about that. So Sizzle can be, you know, those snappy words, or sizzle can be, this is what I can do for you. That's still powerful. So sizzle is a relative word here, okay? All right, let me check and see if we've got any more questions. No. So I'm going to remind you real quickly, in March, next Friday, not this coming Friday, but the following Friday, March 3rd or March 5th, we're starting the Friday show. So I'll be here at 10 o'clock in the morning to look at what's going on LinkedIn, tell you what's coming down the road, and just answer any questions, share any tips. And then in March, we're going to start off with really looking at the social selling index, LinkedIn social selling index, and how that can guide you through promoting your personal brand on LinkedIn. And then the whole rest of March, we're going to be focusing on the first pillar of the social selling index, which is promoting your brand on LinkedIn. Okay, so that's what's coming up. If you didn't catch this live, you know, I'm going to keep it up for the next 5 days and just come back and post some of those headlines or those questions, and we'll take a look at them and get back to you, okay? Great. This is Dumont Owen saying ta-ta for now.